There was no position open or something for me. I literally, what I did is I went to the HR and I said, "Hey, I need to talk to someone." They said, like, "What do you mean by that?" I'm like, "I want to work here." They're like, "Okay, we have never seen anyone just walk in here and say like, I need to work here. You guys need to hire me." So I met one of their HR personnel and I said, "You know what? I think I will be a great fit for your college. I absolutely love the energy here. So give me a job." And he's like, "What? Really?"
Hey there, it's me, Lydia May, a proud Canadian immigrant and a firm believer in the power of a positive mindset. I want to have honest conversations with successful immigrants about their stories, insights, and what it really takes to thrive in your new home. Get ready to warm up to Canada. Welcome to the Ice to Nice podcast. Raisa, thank you so much for joining my podcast. To be honest, I'm thrilled to have you here. And I think how long we have known each other, probably 3 years or something like that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lydia, for having me today here. You know what? I do a lot of podcasts as a host, and this is my first ever podcast where I am the guest. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm a big fan of your work. Ice to Nice sounds amazing. And I would love to share my stories. So, you know what? It reaches out to all the newcomers and people who could benefit from this podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I remember how we met. Actually, I think it was at the job fair, right?
Yes.
And I was like, who's that lady? Like, because you had so much energy. And plus, because I needed to know what you guys do, right? So I had never heard about your college before. And I was like, no, let me just go and talk to her. And then immediately you were just like,
Yes.
oh, hi, sure.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I'm very
know.
curious about what you guys do. Let's take a selfie together
Yes.
and everything.
And then we
So
got
this is
connected on
amazing.
LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually correct. But and of course, I learned straight away that you're an immigrant to Canada. And if you don't mind, just share your story, because of course I know your story, but our viewers, they might not have any idea. So
For sure. So I came to Canada 12 years ago. It was, I think I was 22, 21, something like that. I was already almost done with my undergrad back home. I'm from Bangladesh. If people don't know about my country, I would say it's 1/4 of the size of Alberta, but there is 180 million people. So it's a lot of people out
a lot of
there.
density, right?
Yes, yes, it's the most densely populated country in the world, but we have the longest sea beach in the world, the biggest mangrove forest, the Royal Bengal tiger comes from there. So I come from that beautiful country, and when I came here, back home, I was a newscaster and I was working. I had a life, and then we moved here with my parents. So my mom and dad, and I have a sister. We moved here because we wanted to pursue better education. And we have heard how good of the education system Canada has. So that's why we moved here, and that's where my story starts.
So when your parents, they told you, okay, we're moving to Canada, were you on board with your parents? Or you were like, yeah, no, I want to
No,
stay
I
in
was
Bangladesh?
not. I was not, because you know what? As a newscaster, people knew me. They would ask for autograph and all these kind of things. So
Wow, so
I
you're very
really liked
famous. I had a feeling. I had a
little
feeling.
bit, little bit, but I really enjoyed my life there. I was not ready for all the challenges that would happen. But you know what? Now today, when I look at that decision my parents took, I'm so extremely grateful because Canada is now my home, and I call it my second home. And very soon, I'm going to get married to a Canadian guy.
Wow,
And my
congratulations.
kids, my future generation are going to grow here. So definitely Canada has given me a lot, and I'm so grateful.
So, did you know what you wanted to do? Because you were already as you said, around 22 years old. So, did you have a plan, or you came without any plan?
So I had some sort of plan, but not a lot, because I don't think anyone is ever ready for the big the big change that you get when you move here. Everything is very different than what we have back home. And my plan was to get education because that's why my parents moved here. I knew that I need to go to a university or college, something like that. But I wanted to try out new things that I couldn't do back home. So I know that Canada is full of opportunities, and people told me that you can be anyone. That really helped me to try lots of different things. I started with my university. So I went to University of Calgary to do my undergrad. I noticed that it's very expensive. So I had to work full time to pay for school, and I found a better option in University of Lethbridge, which had evening classes. So I did my undergrad in general management. I pretty much started from very scratch because a lot of our education back home cannot be moved here, and we don't get credit transfers and those kind of things. So part of what I am doing right now is also something that people like me who moved here with a lot of education from previous countries, people like my dad who was an army officer, he worked for United Nations. My mom was an engineer, and when they moved here, my dad started working as a security guard, whereas he took care of an entire country's security. My mom started working at Tim Horton, right? So I always kept thinking, like, why is it so hard for immigrants to move here and start from the beginning? So I always, what I do today even involve that, how can I make things easier for a newcomer to get into education? So right now I'm working as a director of admissions and marketing for a private post-secondary, which is called MCG Career College. And just going back is I did my undergrad, then I also did my master's, and um, that was also in business, but it was more about caring about the people, so the social responsibility part of the business. So ever since I moved here, so many people have been so nice to me that I always wanted to give back to the people. So that's what I do for work, and I'm so happy doing that.
Oh yes,
That's all.
like I know all about it, and like, and I'm curious though. So back then, like when you were still like brand new to Canada,
Mhm.
and you had to go to university, but also you had to work like full time. Like, did you have like any ideas that one day you would become a community leader, and then like, people would follow you, and you will inspire so many immigrants in Canada?
Well, no, I did not have that idea because no one knew me in Canada. I had to start from scratch, literally. Everything was new for me, the language, clothing, the way we talk. The first challenge was I did not know how to say please and thank you all the time and sorry,
Sorry.
So this was a big learning curve. But what I would say that from the very beginning, what I did that really helped me to become who I am today is three things. One is education, number two is networking, and number three is volunteering. Those three things really equipped me for everything that I do now, and I want to continue those things. I'm a lifelong learner. I always tell people to go get educated from school or college or anything. Do a lot of volunteering because you'll get to meet some very inspiring people. And because this country has given us so much, you can also give back to the people. Because when I was new, a lot of new immigrants helped me. And now that I'm here, I'm helping other new
Giving back,
immigrants, right?
right? So this is
And definitely networking was a big thing. I do a lot of community events, I do lots of cultural events. And I do have a couple of tips for the newcomers that I can share that maybe that might help them. Mhm.
awesome. Like this sound like so great. But like I'm curious though again. So like when you were at your school, like, right? So when did you decide like to also work in education as well, but not just to study, right? So and
Mhm.
like what are the challenges you might have faced back then? Did you have that feeling? Oh, like I was this famous person in Bangladesh. Now, like, I am a student in Canada and I have to start from scratch. But actually,
Yeah.
like, I really love your story because of that. You had to start from scratch. You had to go
Yes.
back to school, and even you had like
Yes.
so high position in Bangladesh. But I always tell like many immigrants, they're coming here and at first they think, oh, at first I'm gonna land this job with
Mm.
120,000 a year because they have to recognize like my experience. And I'm very opposite to that because I always tell you have to look at Canada like at your home country. So just imagine if in your home country you go to college or to university, and then after that you're ready to find a job. So do you think you will land a job like the high position of a director, unless of course some money or some connection are involved? But in Canada it doesn't work this way. So when
Exactly.
you're here, like I think it's very good for everybody to wake up in some way and be like, okay, like here I have to start from scratch. I can clearly see that experience which you got in Bangladesh, your school, your education there, like help you a lot. And here you got Canadian education, and it's like that cherry on top, right, of all of the
Absolutely.
experience and all of the school you've done back home.
Mhm.
So like, what was the challenges still? Like, did you feel like, okay, like I don't want to do that, I'm ready to give up, like I was so famous there and now I have to study, I have to work, and I have to network, I have to volunteer? What were your feelings back then about this?
What I would say is, I will answer your second question first, and then I will answer how I got into education. When I was studying, I was doing my undergrad. I was working full time because I knew that it was quite expensive, even though we get student loan here. And I'm so grateful that my parents were there. They were taking care of the house and all the expenditure, and I was living with them, right? So that was a big support. But I would say that I know a lot of international students, a lot of new immigrants who come here, they have their kids, and going to school can be hard. But I would say in Canada, anyone can go to school at any time. My dad, when he came here, the first thing he did is he enlisted himself at SAIT to become an engineer. And he was already retired from army in Bangladesh, right? So he already went to retirement in another country. But then he came here, he started from scratch and became an engineer. He was one of the top student of his class. He knew that Canada can give me a second option. Why not use it? So he used that. I went to school and I thought, okay, I was studying marketing back home here. I wanted to do general business because I did not know where I will find my calling. So I kept my option open, but I did evening classes. So I highly suggest other people like, hey, look into school and do evening classes where you're doing your full-time job. So I was doing lots of retail work, but I was so lucky that on the first night when I landed, I was crying. I was so sad. But then I couldn't sleep. So what I did is I went to Kijiji back in those days. People posted jobs in Kijiji.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So I already created my resume. I started looking at what they're looking for and I started applying. And on the fourth day I was in Canada, I already had landed a job at Shaw Communication in their call center as a tech support. So that was amazing. But job where like I would say now it's very competitive. So when I was working full time, I went to class in the evening, and that's how I did my entire undergrad. Once I finished that, I realized that because I'm doing my bachelor's degree here, I could see in lots of jobs, my manager didn't have a bachelor degree. They did not go to university. So that was a good thing for me that many people looked at me like, okay, we can give her a promotion now that she has Canadian experience and Canadian education, because there are a lot of differences in different countries, how we write an email. And we were just talking before the podcast that sometimes we come across in a different way that we don't intend to, but there is a lot of learning. So yes, education helped me a lot. I also want to say that my mom at the age of, I think, like 55, 57, something like that, she I made her go to school, and I said, you know what? This is your time that we are all grown up, because back home she was taking care of us. And I said, you can be whoever you want. What do you want to study? And she's like, I want to do business administration. I want to get my business diploma. So I was working at the time at CDI College, and she went and did her business diploma. Again, like my dad, she was one of the top students. She was in the dean's list at her college, and she finished her education and she got a promotion where she's working. It has opened a lot of doors for her. She can reach out to anyone. She knows how to do all the business emails, business interaction, those kind of things. My younger sister, again, she went to University of Calgary, and that also opened a lot of doors. She did her education in French. So now she's going to be a school teacher teaching French to people in Canada. And back home, we didn't even speak French, right?
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
there's so many new doors that open for us. That's the time, Lydia, I knew that, oh my God, this has helped our entire family have new life, well-paid jobs, beautiful house, and everything that I want to work in the education field. So when I was going to University of Lethbridge, they have a Calgary location that is in the Bow Valley College building. And every night when I was done with my school or I was coming into class, I would see this wonderful people at the college at Bow Valley. And they were always so nice. Doesn't matter which school you were going to, they were just always so kind and humble. And I will see a lineup of new immigrant waiting for link class or other courses. So then I felt so good being in a college that I'm like, I could see so many people with big smile because they are going to change their life. And I could always think of myself. And I'm like, oh my God, I can see my mom, my dad, myself, because my mom also went to Bow Valley College to study link class. And then I decided, okay, I want to work here. There was no position open or something for me. I literally, what I did is I went to the HR and I said, hey, I need to talk to someone. They said, like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I want to work here. They're like, okay, we have never seen anyone just walk in here and say like, I need to work here. You guys need to hire me. So I met one of their HR personnel. His name is Isaac Beadle, a wonderful guy. And I said, you know what? I think I will be a great fit for your college. I absolutely love the energy here. So give me a job. And he's like, what? Really? So he's like, okay, let me look into like what options we have. And let's see, you have to apply online. And I'm like, I know I have to apply online, but here's my resume. I want to work here. And I'm telling you how much I love this place. So that was a great story. And he looked at a couple of options. Then he said, give me some time. I kept calling him. And I said, I really love this college and I want to start working here as soon as possible. I'm almost done with my university. So a position opened in continuing education and I met with an amazing leader there, David Harvey. And he hired me. He saw my energy, he saw my passion. And again, I kept calling, I followed up. And these are some of the ways I think newcomers can show how much they love an organization. You cannot just apply to online and just be done with it. You really need to like connect with the people there and see what they're doing. So it worked out for me. And from there, here I am now. From starting as an administrative assistant or reception, now I'm working as a director in a college.
So now you work for a private and career college, but before you were with a public college,
Yes.
right? And in some way, I know that a lot of viewers, they might be wondering, like, what is the difference,
Yes.
like between a public institution or a private institution in Canada?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to share that part because when a lot of newcomer comes in, they only think that, okay, I have to get into a university or a public institution. I am a big advocate of private education, career colleges too, because um, there are people like my mom and dad. There are people like me who already have education back home. They cannot go to a university and work, like study full time or go to school in person because they have to pay for their mortgage, take care of kids and stuff, right? So I highly encourage them that look at your all the options. There are great private career colleges. These are regulated colleges where you can go and get education in a shorter time or in very concise way. These are programs that gives you a job, like I would say, quite faster than some of the traditional way of getting education. When I came here, I actually did not know about this. So I thought, okay, I have to go to a university, and that's all I have. So I spent almost 6 years to do my undergrad because I was working full time and it was very expensive. I saw other people who were my managers who went and got a diploma from a private college, and they got into the field right away. So, for example, people who go to colleges like our college and other colleges in Canada, they can do 6 month to 2 year long program. And in the program, they have in like hands-on practicum, those kind of things. And I would say, you know what, private colleges do a great job helping most of the immigrants who come into Canada, because most of them don't go to university. They become medical office administrator. They do diploma in paralegal. They're helping with, like our college is the only private college in Alberta that teaches ultrasound.
Wow.
So if someone wants to be an ultrasound tech, they can also go to a private college and get the job and be job ready very quickly. They also get student loan. It's government work with them. They are at the almost the same way they get into a public institution. So I want newcomers to be educated about these options. My boss, he's an amazing guy. He is the chair, Tim Ogilvie. He's the chair of Alberta Association of Career Colleges. These are different non-for-profit organization you can go to, or National Association of Career Colleges. People can reach out to them and ask, hey, what are the private colleges and what programs you're offering? Again, my college is the only college in the country where we love volunteering so much that people can pay up to 100% of their tuition through volunteering.
Wow.
If someone doesn't have money, maybe the person is a refugee or newcomer, they can actually volunteer at a non-for-profit organization. And for each hour, we give them $25 tuition credit. I know many other colleges giving scholarship and career coaching and those kind of things. So I just want all the newcomers to know that you have options. Educate yourself, try different colleges, talk to them, and see which one fits for you. It's not that you always have to compete with others to get a seat. You can also be the one who chooses, like, you know what, I'm not going to go to this one, I'm going to go to here. So I always educate people that it's never too late. And if my mom can do that, you can do it too.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a lot of options, right? And people can choose smartly. And also, like, you are one of not so many new people, as you said, like, I think, who picked a company first and then a job. Because, as you know, my friend Svetlana, and she was on the podcast
Yes, I know
as
her.
well. It
I
happened
love her.
to her with one of the companies exactly the same way. So first she picked a company, and then the
Yes,
job came with that, right? So
that's true.
and I think it's such a brilliant idea and such a brilliant strategy, because, like, many people, especially immigrants, right, they're coming to Canada and they're waiting for a job offer, and they don't think if a company is good, if it's a good match for them, because they're so struggling. They don't want to have a survival job. So when any office position is there, they take that job. And then, like, sometimes it works out well, but sometimes it becomes a little bit a disaster because of, like, working hours, or maybe the culture of the company is not the fit for the person. So I think, like, this is amazing. So like, and it shows in some way you've done some networking, right? So
Yes.
it wasn't even any volunteering job. You just were like, I'm gonna network, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna introduce myself, right?
Yes.
But I always find that for some people, even me, it's so funny. I do networking for a living now in some way. But, like, back then, like 11 years ago, I also was at Bow Valley College, but I was a student. And I
Yes.
didn't want to do any networking. As soon as I would hear you have to network to find a job, I would complain. But why? Like back home, like we could just send a resume. Why I need to do like any networking, right?
Yes.
And the funny story, so my friend Svetlana, she invited me to a networking event, and I met her at the college as well, because like we were international students, and we were like, oh, hey. So we recognized each other that we probably speak the same language. So she invited me to an event. And I got a job also at Bovali College. So in some like when you were sharing your story, I was thinking like maybe at some point I saw you or your mom, right? And it was a short time, but still like I got it. I wasn't so confident as you with, and even like generally I'm a very confident person, but I was like, oh, my English is not good enough.
Yes.
And I was just first year student. I was like, no, like there is no way I'm gonna land a job. And it happened that I got a job with their marketing team, but it was a coincidence. It was that word serendipity networking,
Yes.
right? But I'm curious though, because I know you've done a lot of volunteering as well. So when that idea with the volunteering came into your mind, like was it common in Bangladesh or not so much? I can assume so. When you came here, did you hear from somebody, or just like because you're so you have these great communication skills, you talk to people and you were told, okay, you have to volunteer in Canada?
No. So how it started is when I was actually very young back home in my high school, I loved cultural stuff. So I went to music school, I went to painting school, those kind of things. And besides going to school, my mom always said that, you know what, you have to do other things, because that makes you a better human being. That's what she said, that because you get to see the beauty of the world through poetry, through music, through painting. You know, it's a very
you have great parents.
I
and
do.
Knowing their story now, it's just amazing.
They're
They
so
should inspire like
yes.
people who are coming to Canada later in life, right?
Yes. So actually, a couple of days ago, my mom said, you know what, I have a summer break. I want to do volunteering. So my mom and dad are very giving person. Now, what I was saying is, back home when I was in high school, I started working on TV as a child performer or artist. I was doing lots of anchoring back then. So what I learned is, if you do anything beside your study or your work, you get to know a lot of new people and you gain a lot of experience. So I knew that me doing something extra beside my education really helped me build a lot of extra skills than my classmates. So what I did is, when I came here, I was thinking the same thing, that I know I need to go to school, but what else can I do? I was a little bit shy about my English, because I was like, I know you're giving me a face, but because I'm a singer, it doesn't mean that I actually speak very good English, but I can mimic because I can hear people well. My ear is better to like, if whatever you will say, I can mimic that. So I was trying to use my singing skill to talk like Canadians, so that I don't have very thick accent. But even if you have thick accent, I now know that it's not a big deal at all. Like, my parents were giving a lot of stress, like, you need to speak in better English or this, but that's not the case. Your personality is your biggest language, I would say. If you wear a big smile, that goes beyond your whatever language you speak.
Especially in Canada.
So,
right?
exactly. And when we came here, Lydia, we had nothing, almost, like no house, nothing. There was my uncle who actually told us to come to Canada. So we were living in his house. He's a very amazing person. He does lots of volunteering too. He told us to go to Newcomer Center. He told us to go talk to Siwa. He also told us to go to all these non-for-profit organizations that help newcomer. So our first meeting or getting help from people were other volunteers at non-for-profit, where my mom volunteered at different festivals, learn how to do culinary stuff. My sister did, I did, my dad did. And we learned from the volunteers from those organizations. Then we met the managers there. They were a big player in our life of helping us start. So I tell all the newcomers that go to these non-for-profit organizations. There's way more now, right now, and volunteer. You will get to know the culture, the language, skills. And you know what? If you do good at volunteering, you might end up having a job there. We have so many people who volunteered with our organizations that I work with. And I saw that how passionate they were, and I offered them job that you should be working with us. And they weren't even thinking that they could land a job in the college. And we were like, no, I can see how amazing you are without getting anything in return. You're just doing it out of your heart. So that's a big opportunity. So I suggest everyone should volunteer. Another thing that I would say is it's volunteering is not just because, okay, you're gonna learn something new, but also you're giving, I would say, like, anyone can volunteer at any time. It's not just newcomers. I also encourage other people who are in senior positions in different organizations and very well established. When you volunteer, you not only get to empower another person, and that absolutely feels amazing, but also you get to meet with other people who are also very successful, very giving, and believes in the community. For example, I will share a very recent story. The college I work for, it's owned by a doctor. Her name is Dr. Monica Gupta. She also came here as an immigrant 20 years ago. Her first job was in Tim Hortons, and now she owns multiple diagnostic clinics, colleges, real estate, and so many things, but she always volunteers. And she's volunteer at different temple, different non-for-profit, women empowerment, those kind of things. And my direct boss, Tim Ogilvy, again, he actually introduced me to private education industry. He took me from Bow Valley and took me to CDI College, and then we moved to MCG College. I have this amazing two mentors. They both volunteer. And they say, like, Raisa, when you volunteer, you will meet other people from who you can learn. It's not only you're giving, you're getting too by learning from them. So, for example, Monica, she mentors newcomers. We had a Ukrainian girl, she's amazing. And she wanted to get into education or clinics because in Ukraine, she was a clinic manager. That's how I followed Monica's footstep, and I was doing mentorship with CCIS, Calgary Catholic Immigration Society. And when we went to the mentorship award event, I met with so many other mentors who are doing amazing work. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can learn this from her, or we can connect and collaborate and help many other newcomers. So volunteering is just a chain of empowerment that we do with each other. So I highly suggest everyone to do that.
Wow, this is so great stories. And in some way, and again, I've learned it from my friend Svetlana, but then I kind of adopted her view on volunteering. So like once she told me, you have to understand that volunteering, it's a strategic networking.
Yes.
Because like, especially for those who feel like, oh, I don't want to go to this event, like, no, because then what? Should I tell people I'm looking for a job? Like when you are a volunteer, you don't need to do so, right? Like you just go and you have a specific task. So let's say if you're preparing some soups for homeless people, right? You never know who actually will be standing close to you preparing the same soup, right? Exactly, person might be a CEO of a big company, and later on they might have an opening, and you can be like, oh, like, okay, I know this person because we are connected on LinkedIn or something like that.
Absolutely.
Right? And now, like, I think it's a good moment to switch to LinkedIn as well, because I know you are probably a guru of LinkedIn and building your own brand.
I love LinkedIn. Yes.
Because as I said in the beginning, so I met you like 3 years ago, and I can clearly say that 3 years ago you were still Raisa, but you were a different person, because now even when you work for this amazing college and you've done like such a great job, so I see that every post, right? And so, and I see that Raisa is behind that post, right? And so, and now like you have tons of connections, but also you're a community leader now. So if you can touch a little bit on building your own profile on LinkedIn, but also using LinkedIn and becoming a community leader. That would be great, I think.
For sure. This is so any event I go to, I meet lots of people that I don't even know, and they say, "Oh, I saw your post on LinkedIn. I know you from LinkedIn."
Yeah, so
Or
sweet.
even like social media. Social media itself is a huge networking platform. I am a very people's person. So I always love to know new people, make new friends. And even if someone is shy, I'm the first person to say hi and get to know the person. Because even introvert people can have a lot of things that they're not talking about, right? So for LinkedIn, I would say, when I was at Bow Valley College, I noticed that my boss, David Harvey, he was the dean of continuing education school. He was using LinkedIn all the time, and he would connect with other education, industry leaders, other employees. He will give kudos to employees. And I was like, what are you using? Is that a Facebook for like corporate people? Or is like what is
Or
this?
dating site.
Dating site, right? Okay, yes, I did get a lot of messages from different guys, but you know what? That's okay. So he told me that in Canada, a lot of employers use LinkedIn to hire new talents. They get to know about the person beyond just the resume. Everyone applies jobs with a resume. But if you have a LinkedIn, people can see what's your hobby, what you're liking, who you are as a person, what are the things you're writing about, your passion, those kind of things. So it gives you an extra bit of platform to showcase yourself and your work, and also to connect with other people. So a couple of things that I would share that I have done that worked like magic is I did create the LinkedIn profile when I was almost done with my undergrad school, because Dave told me, like, Raisa, you should be on LinkedIn. I started my LinkedIn profile. I always tell people that don't just write about your job, write what you have done differently in your work. Like, I was at the age of 22, I was a regional manager at Hudson's Bay. And all the employees were like in their 60s and 50s, and I had a lot of age gap. But when I wrote about my work experience, you can write about what are the things that you have achieved, that you did like little parties and stuff with your teammates and all those kind of things. You can also write about your volunteer work. You can also write about your interest, your education, your skills in LinkedIn. Because when people are looking for a person, they might note down that these are the skills I'm looking for this job. And if you have those skills, your profile actually shows up for the employers that this person actually has like these type of skills and the education that you're looking for and the years of experience that you're looking for. So it is kind of like applying for jobs. Now, another thing that I did is I posted very frequently about my work. I gave kudos to the people who are doing a great work. I gave kudos to my managers too. I'm like, you know what? You took an extra bit of time to ask me about my personal life, what I want to be, who I want to become, and the things that I like. And they put genuine interest in my personal growth. I always gave them kudos to that. People from other organizations too. For example, I met you at a job fair, and I always like to connect with people that show a spark and, goes extra mile to talk about their organization, because I could clearly see that you believed in what you do. Right? You actually wanted to help newcomers get the money that they need to go to school. And I am the person who were in this school, and I could see the gap, and I'm like, oh my God, she is helping my industry. I need to give her kudos, and she's just an amazing person. So when I gave you the kudos on LinkedIn, that also attracted other people's attention. I know the CEO of National Association of Career Colleges,
Yes,
Michael
actually, I
Sangster,
completely
reached out
forgot
to you.
that story.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it was
right?
so amazing. It was that power of LinkedIn, like, no, right?
I
And
know, and there were
everything.
so many other people who saw
Yeah.
you. My boss saw you, and my boss is like, "Who's this person? We should be working with Windmill."
Mhm.
So, see, it
Yeah.
helped different organization collaborate. I also want to give a couple of quick tips for LinkedIn.
Mhm.
If people are applying for job, that's great. That's your first thing. You do it. But then, for example, if you want to work for a company, like if you want to work with MCG College, I absolutely love and hire from the people who reach out to me on LinkedIn and tells me something about the college that they like or the people. We have so much fun at work. It's a lifestyle, and I'm so blessed that I found my calling in education and that's what I do. I don't feel like going to work. I feel like this is something fun that I'm going to because I'm helping so many other people, right? So I highly suggest people that if you like an organization or even a person, reach out to that person on LinkedIn. Look at what the post they're writing. If something resonates with you, write a comment on it. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to like every single thing. Just something like, even if you like, okay, if you like me dressing up so colorful, talk about that you also like dressing up colorful, then something matches between us. And then you can say like, hey, Raisa, I really love this thing about your organization, and I also did something like that before. I would love to know if there is any position. I absolutely love those genuine messages, not just, hi, how are you? No, tell me where you met me, tell me what you like, or tell me what you're struggling with, and I will be there to help you. I'm so happy that when I was new, other new immigrants in Canada who were my ex-bosses, they met me at either retail or bank. I was a teller. I worked at oil and gas before working in education. They picked me and they said, okay, I want you to work for me or with me. So I was so lucky that I didn't have to apply for a lot of jobs, but because of networking, they got to know me and they offered me a job. And last my 3 jobs that are my most high paying jobs, my first ever job that was a 6-figure role came through LinkedIn. My boss, Tim Ogilvy, he reached out to me on LinkedIn and he's like, I see you work at Bow Valley College. I want to know this about this. Can you connect me with someone? And I did connect him with someone. And he really appreciated the way I helped him, even though it wasn't in my hand. I found the people, and he kept seeing how many amazing posts I posted about Bow Valley College. And he's like, this girl really likes her job. So he offered me a very senior position, and I said no to that. I said, no, I'm going to do my master's, but I will do something that's a little bit less busy, that I can, focus on my education at the same time. That I took the role, and since then I got another job through LinkedIn, and where I am right now, this role is also came from LinkedIn. Someone else saw me, how much I'm having fun at work and how much I love helping the students, that she reached out to me, say like, would you like to be the dean of MCG College? And I said, the dean? No, but I would love to do something with admissions and marketing. And she created a position for me. So LinkedIn has been a blessing, and I tell everyone, please do that. Right? And if someone doesn't have a job, Lydia, I tell them it's okay. Still create a profile and like other people's posts, follow other people, ask them question that, hey, can you tell me more about your bank that you work at? Do they care about diversity? Do they care about this or that? And if the person gives you some information, even if it's not over a coffee, just a LinkedIn message, give kudos to that employee. That employee will feel so appreciated that, oh, I just randomly helped the stranger, but the stranger wrote that how much I love this bank and my job and my team. So his bosses will see that he really loves that position and the organization. And you never know, that might make that person talk about you like, oh my God, this person didn't have to give me kudos, but maybe we should hire this girl who really wants to join the bank.
Yeah.
So I always tell that. And I have seen, like, I have connected other people, like I think around 50 people. I have connected with other people who ended up landing a job, and that's all through LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I can be like a second voice for it as well, because as we both know, so we met like 3 years ago, right? And back then you didn't use a lot of help from my organization, where I work for, right? But then still, like, like you were on my mind all the time, right? So every time when like I would meet an immigrant who would be looking for like a college or something like that, and if they didn't want to go to a public college, and I would be like, listen, I know some good private ones, so like
Yes.
if you don't feel like this college is for you, so you can consider other colleges as well. And it's kind of, you're absolutely right. So even after 3 years, we are still like, I still remembered your college and everything, right? And now like we reconnected
Now
again,
we're working
right?
together. 16 of
Yeah,
our
yeah,
students have applied
yeah,
for windmill funding. And again, that's amazing.
yeah.
That's with networking at Career Fair that ended up in LinkedIn. And now we're working together, right?
Yeah, I
Collaborating.
know.
So that's
It's
definitely
like
something.
awesome. So I'm curious though, like where the community leader thing came
Comes
up,
in.
like at what point? Because like
Yes.
now when you've told me all of your stories, I feel like you've lived in Canada for more than 30 years, like, right? Like, because so many things
I do
have
just a lot of
happened
things.
in your life, right? So like
Yes.
you were changing careers, you go to your MBA, like a lot of things, like, right? And now of course I clearly see that education helped you a lot,
Hmm.
because like of course like it gave you maybe that confidence in English,
Yes.
right? So like, okay, I can do that. I'm in Canada now, but I can get back to my career, maybe not the exact career I had in Bangladesh, but be at the same level or maybe even higher in my career. But where the community like leader thing came up, where you were like, I want to do more, like, or it happened in a very organic way, because you have been doing so much. You have been a volunteer, you have been doing a lot of networking, you work with international students, you work with immigrants, so maybe it just was some organic thing and you didn't need to do a lot for that.
I would say both. So, yes, definitely I am someone who loves to do a lot of things. I'm always very positive about life. Again, as I said, my education gave me confidence because I could see who else was in the room in the university. I saw CEOs of different organizations. I saw lawyers, doctors who went back to school. And I'm like, I can be like them. I can have a life of myself. So that really motivated me to push it through. And when I did that, there was an aha moment that I'm so happy all the time, Lydia. There's nothing that can stop me. All the time, I'm just smiling. Anyone having a bad day, I know the way to make them happy. Like there's always a way. That's what education gave me, and being in the room with other people that really rejuvenate me. That okay, there is ways. When I did that and I finished my master's, I remember how I felt having an MBA. And that the networking that I did throughout my MBA courses at University of Calgary, they did connect me with some inspiring people. And then I decided I actually changed job right after my graduation, and I said, I want to be in a place where I could do what I want to do. Like, sorry, I will just say that in one of my MBA course, actually, an instructor told me, write a sentence that what's the goal of your life.
Wow.
Then see how your job does it relate with that or not. If it doesn't, then you're not in the right place. But if it does, then you're in the right place. So then I wrote down that sentence, and that sentence was, I want to make a positive impact in other people's life who are around me. So then I thought, how can I do that with education? So then I chose to have this job that helps me empower all the people through education. And I'm so happy. When I did that, I'm like, okay, this is the time I want to encourage other people in the community to do maybe whatever they feel like. Maybe there are other people who are feeling the same way I felt when I was going through some dark days. And it then encouraged me to do a lot of volunteering as a mentor, as a guest speaker. I also organize a lot of events where there people talk about domestic violence in South Asian community. I've been working with U-Turn Project. That's an amazing non-for-profit organization. Jay Chaudhary from Red FM, it's a radio. He connected me with that because I go to different, events and stuff. As part of my job, I get to meet with other people, and they say, you know what, Raisa, this is your time that you share the stories. This is your time you mentor other people to show what you have done so that it helped. And that's when I started doing community leadership. I think you don't have to be a leader to be a community leader. You just have to be a team player, holding each other up who are around you, and that helps you lead a community. I'm still a very small person. I'm just one person, but I know a lot of, of us when we're together, we make a very strong thing. So that's how my journey started.
Oh my God, like these the golden words. And I think that what is very important as well, that people see your passion, and you are a good example of what can be done in Canada, right? With that people can come here, like start like brand new from scratch, and your parents' story is amazing as well, right? And you can just still achieve a lot of things here, especially like these days, when on the news you can hear that immigrants are leaving, like things are bad, like a lot of YouTube videos which
Yes.
say Canada is not the same as it used to be, but the country is growing, so more people are
Yeah.
coming, so the world is changing, so and we are
Absolutely.
changing as well, like with the world. And the most important thing, as you said, you are staying positive all of the time, right?
Yes.
And this is very important. Like I have this kind of theory, but not but it's not a theory, it's a way of life, right? So like that, it's very important to be in some kind of balance, because when we come here to Canada, like we feel like, oh, like everything is gonna be great, but it's our unrealistic expectations, right? And as I always say, expectations are our worst enemies. You need to be very realistic, and then like what might happen. So you start your life in Canada, and like you go here, and then suddenly you got a job interview, so your level of excitement goes up, right? But of course you will never stay there, like
Yes.
unless you're doing some drugs. So but then let's say the job interview like didn't go well, so
Yes.
automatically people, we are all human beings, we have a tendency to go much down, right? And the most interesting thing, I do believe that people can stay down their whole life, but they cannot stay up their whole life again, unless some like drugs are involved, right? But like the most important thing, like when you have these ups and downs, always get to your balance, right? And you balance when you're calm, when you're happy, when you are in control of the situation, when you understand what you do. And then of course you land a job with six figures, yeah, like you're happy, but still eventually like you would go down, like maybe one day you are let go and then you go down. But then the most important thing, always be in this balance, right? So, and that's why I think your story like shows how it's important like to observe the situation, right? You were very
That's
young
true.
when you come to Canada, when you came to Canada, but then like, and I guess your parents, they played a big part like
Yes.
in your destiny in Canada as well,
I
right?
still want to add something, Lydia,
Yeah.
though. If there are people who are not here with their parents, maybe they're just by themselves or they are the breadwinner of the family, I always tell them something that find your own community people. If you're a newcomer, find your own community. Like if you're from Russia, find groups in Facebook or go to the church or go to the places where other Russian people are and learn from them, talk to them. Because when I was new, I had no friends here, no one except just my uncle, right? So what I did is I found other Bengali people by doing like tonight I'm going to sing at a show because I did music school. So I found people who sings.
You can stop surprising me.
I know. So you know what? Everyone knows something. If you know how to bake, find a place where your other community women are baking, going for food. Go to the restaurant where they all hang out. Go to the mosque or the temple. Once you go there, you will meet other people of your community who might be able to give you advices or help you find a job. learn from them. I really think that in Canada, people are so inclusive and there's so much diversity. Like before I came to Canada, maybe I knew only like two or three different countries people in Bangladesh, like some American, maybe one or two person from Nigeria, a couple of Chinese people, and that's it. When I came here, I got to know with a lot of my Indian, Pakistani neighbors. I got to meet with Russian, Ukrainian, Ethiopian, Uzbekistan, like so many other the countries that I did not know names of. I got to know their culture, those people, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I now actually, you know what? I'm so grateful that I call Canada my home because I got to find out that South Asian people are very much like Latino people.
Yeah.
They eat spicy food, they're very loud, they like to dance, they like to yell and scream. And we are almost same. So much so that I ended up finding a wonderful man in my life. Again, he's born in Canada, but his families are from Chile. And I'm getting married to him this summer. We will be making a family together. And you know what? Canada offered me that new hope. Everything. Back home, sometimes there is nepotism, but things have changed. When I came here, there was a lot of political unrest in my country. Now we have gone above that, and a new country is being built. But for me, at the age of 30 or 31, I could never think myself in Bangladesh that I could be a senior executive of a post-secondary education. Here I work with people who are 40, 50, 60 years old. And me being 34-year old, they never look down upon me. They listen to me. They value me, right? And this is what we got. But I always tell that you don't just get everything on the first day. I worked as a cashier at Jerusalem Shawarma. Oh my God, I love my Arab coworker. We used to dance before we close our shift, with loud Arab music. And through that, I got to meet with the different community and get to know what we have in commonality. Another big thing is the indigenous people in this country are so much like us. They're very collective. They went through something similar. Even when I was sharing, like I'm from Bangladesh, we got colonized by the British Empire. And things here in the history, we have a lot of commonality that to decolonize our mind, we share a lot of values. And I made great friends with them. And I felt so comfortable that I am in their land and now I call this land my home, right? So I tell everyone, like, please go meet with the people that you feel comfortable with. Speak in your language and then you will feel more comfortable. And another thing I want to say to Canadian employers, please do give chance to newcomer. When they come here, they already have a superpower. People don't know that migration can be trauma. And we learn a whole new language. We eat new food. We dress in a different way. We make new friends. We marry new people. And there were days when I would cry, at the end of the night, and I would be like, I really miss home. Sorry, I feel emotional right now because I had a life. And when I came here, I had nothing. And every night I would dream that, oh, I'm back home, right? But then I'm so happy now that I call this my home, is because I got those Canadian employer who believed in me. There was a Canadian lady, she said, you should be the regional manager in my department. And I'm like, what? I'm not rich. I don't have my uncle or aunties in a political, party. You're going to give me a chance? They did. And look where I am. And so many other Canadian employer, I know my college, we love newcomer because they're so resilient. They're multitasking. They're handling so many things at the same time, and they're so strong that we love to empower them too. So I really suggest everyone just give them a try, get to know about the new culture. What could be the worst thing? Like nothing. You will get to know a new culture. You're going to try new food. You're going to make new friends. And I think Canada as a whole, we can be a great country. Sorry.
Okay, no.
Sorry.
This was great. I think it's a very inspirational speech, right? Because the idea of my project, of my YouTube channel, to inspire people,
It's too nice.
to let them know, right, that yes, you are coming here, and at first things maybe don't seem like they're very friendly, right? But then
Is it because it's
eventually,
ice like cold?
yeah,
And then
like,
it's nice?
yeah,
Oh
kind
my God. I
of.
do remember my first time seeing snow. I went outside my house. I jumped on the snow and I did not know that when I come back, I have to take off my shoe. So I had snow under my ice under my shoe. When I stepped in, I fell down and I hurt my butt so much.
Oh my God.
So that was my first ice experience.
Yeah.
And then guess what? It's
Yeah.
now nice.
And now nice, yeah. But it's like, it's kind of it's a similarity as well. And I always tell, yes, of course it's the weather, right? Especially we live in Calgary, like it can be ice, it can be nice, like
Nice.
the very next
You were
day.
right.
But also it's about the mindset, right? So the mindset that we first come, then we realize, okay, so our credentials are not recognized straight away, that we need to do something in order our credentials to be recognized. Or same like, okay, oh, I cannot make a six-figure salary straight away. No, you cannot right now, and that's why you are in the stage of ice. You feel like, oh, why did I come here? Like, no, I miss my home. Like, I cannot find like my friends. I cannot find like my community. But then eventually, right, when you actually follow people like you, right, and like who are very inspirational, who tells no, like things can work. Just you need to put some effort. You need to learn how to play the game, right? So very often I use this expression. When we are kids, we are playing a game. If we don't know the rules, we cannot win the game. So you need to know the rules, and it doesn't mean that the rules are bad in Canada. They're just different, right? Like they will never be like in Bangladesh. They will never be like in Russia. But that's why as a newcomer, you have to like just observe, I believe. You have to observe and be like, okay, so they use a lot of small talk. They use a lot of soft skills. Like am I lacking of soft skills? Like, should I learn? Like, should I obtain some classes, or should I just practice with my YouTube? Right? So things like that. And that's why, like, eventually, if they do everything right, if they know how to play the game, then things become nicer, right? So, and that's why it's from ice to nice. I believe
I love that.
it's an immigrant mindset, right? At first we are frozen. We're like, oh my God, things are expensive. I can hear why is they ask me, hey, how I am, and I don't know what to answer, right? All of those things, like,
or why is the person holding the door?
Yeah, like, or holding a door, especially like, see, in Russia we would do it a lot, but for example, I just recently traveled to India, different in culture, different, and I assume like in Bangladesh is very close to India, and that's why I'm like, oh my God, probably people who are coming from India, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, to Canada, they're in shock, and like first 2 months, why it's like it this way, and do I have to be in a line, right?
Exactly. So even shaking hands,
right? Especially for a woman, right?
Exactly.
So do I have to shake a hand? Like I didn't do that before. So,
even as a Muslim woman in Bangladesh, we don't shake hand.
Oh,
and that was the first lesson I learned when I came to Canada, that hey, do a firm handshake or wear the smile.
And
be
wear
welcoming.
The whole package. And that's why I think people who are like you, they're very important, right? Because again, by your example,
or people like us,
okay. I was trying to be a humble one. It seems like you are my guest, but yes, like the positive mindset that, listen, we are here, we didn't abandon Canada, and we made our lives here, and we are happy, we are successful, and what is more, we are inspiring other new people. Then why you would stick to a negative story, right? Of course, like, there are negative stories, and yes, I do believe for some of the people it's harder. Like in your example, you had your parents. In my example, I was an international student, but my dad was helping me with my tuition fees, right? And so I had some money, but still, like, I had this positive mindset from day one, and I was like, I'm okay to work at McDonald's. I didn't want to work at McDonald's, right? tried, but I am okay because I understand like nobody knows me here. But then I believed in myself that, okay, I'll start with McDonald's, but then I'll have a better job later on, right? So,
Absolutely.
and that's why I really wanted to have you as a guest on my podcast, because like, yes, you are an inspiration for people. And look,
Thank you. Thank
now
you so
we
much.
recorded this episode, and in the evening you're gonna be singing for the first time after 7 years or
Yes.
something, right?
I'm very
So
excited.
yeah, like you're trying new things, and
Yes.
like this is good, yeah. So thank you so much for coming. I'm grateful for your time, and yes, so I'm pretty sure like we will record more things in the future.
Hopefully, you know what? There is always room to grow together. And thank you so much, Lydia, for having me here. I was so excited to be here with you in the podcast. And I know that we both share the same values of uplifting other people, especially what we went through as a newcomer. We want to empower other people to learn from our mistakes and the things we did right, the things we did wrong. You know, it's all a learning curve. I just want people to know that there is always light behind the tunnel. So please hold to that light and believe in yourself. Wear colors if you feel like people are not noticing you. There's so many other ways that you can stick out, but give back.
Yeah.
I think volunteering helps a lot. But I also want to thank everyone who's listening right now to our podcast that if you have a good story, I would say they should reach out to you or reach out to me. My name is Raisa Afrida on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Anyone can reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Raisa. Keep inspiring other people as well.
Thank you so much, Lydia. And you keep doing what you are doing.